Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss about very important application layer infrastructure which is called as domain name system. See, generally we used to call application layer protocols, say for example SMTP, FTP and IMAP, MIME, POP3, right? These are all called as application layer protocols, but this DNS is an application layer infrastructure. So what is the purpose of domain name system? Why we need this, right? So when we surf in internet, so we will type something called domain name. So for example, www.google.com or www.gmail.com or www.crickinfo.com. Okay, some website, okay, some domain I would like to reach. Okay, so what actually the system need is not a user understandable format. Okay, so this google.com is in our own understandable format. Okay, but the computer requires the IP address instead of this domain name. So there should be someone, right, who stores this IP address, right, for this particular domain name, and there should be someone who needs to resolve this. Okay, so this resolver is nothing but our DNS infrastructure. So what is the purpose or major application of DNS? Very simple. It is going to convert or it is going to map. It is not just conversion. So conversion is a wrong term. So the DNS is going to map the domain name with respect to its equivalent IP address. So this is called DNS resolution. So the process of mapping the respective domain name to a respective IP address is so called as domain name resolution. Okay. So we'll see this with an example. So the example of using DNS service. Okay. So you can see in this particular diagram. So there is a user. Okay, and there is a client. Okay. So this is user end. So you can see a rectangle box. So in this user, he is a SMTP client. He wants to access wonderful.com. Okay. So what happens here? Okay. So whenever I type, right, wonderful.com in my URL space and enter, after that the process takes place, right? This takes very less amount of time, probably with respect to the speed what we have in our day-to-day life. Or with respect to the current scenarios, it will be in terms of some microseconds to nanoseconds. Okay, so now he is requesting wonderful.com. So the wonderful.com request, this is called DNS query. This query is reaching DNS client, the nearby DNS client. Okay, so it reaches the client, and the DNS client is again forwarding it to one another DNS client, and the second DNS client is giving the IP address to the DNS client which is inbuilt to the system, and then from the DNS client of the user it is reaching back to the SMTP client, and finally the IP address 200.200.200.5, which is the IP address of actual IP address of wonderful.com, is given to the next layer. Okay, so this is what this process is called as domain name system resolution, or otherwise DNS resolution. Next, we'll see what is this DNS namespace. Okay, so there is something called as namespace. Okay, so it will be something like this. There is a place where all the domain names with respect to particular site, right, is been stored along with its IP address. So this space is called as domain name space, and you can see there are different types of domain name spaces. One is called flat namespace and another one is called hierarchical namespace. Okay, so we'll see some example here. Okay, regarding domain namespace. First one, to have a hierarchical namespace, a domain namespace was designed. In this design, the names are defined in an inverted tree structure with a root at the top, and the tree can have 128 levels, and 0 level is the root level. Okay, so this is for hierarchical namespace, but flat namespace is very simple. Okay, so I have a namespace requirement, and it is like a stored database. Okay, so directly it will be pointed towards the flat space. So in our DNS infrastructure, we will be using hierarchical namespace. Okay, so as I already told you, it will be like a inverted tree structure. On top of the tree is called the root domain. Okay, so it is called level 0, and like that you can extend this hierarchical namespace till 127th level. Okay, so what we are going to see here is under this namespace, what is called a label and what is called a domain name and what is a domain. Okay, this is what we are going to discuss here. So you can see in this example, right? So this is an inverted tree structure, and that block color dot is called root Okay, so whenever I make a request which is not serviceable by my browser, then the request or a DNS resolution request will go to a root domain. Okay, from there it will reach to different, domains. Okay, so under domains we have so many varieties, like we have commercial domains, right? We have country domains, we have inverted domains, and we have educational based domains, so on, right? So in this example you can see a domain name called alpha, and there is a domain name called com, that is called, all the commercial websites will comes under com. Edu, all the educational sites will comes under edu. All the organizations, non-profitable organizations or even organizations will comes under org and ad and zw, and it goes on. Okay, so this is a domain tree structure of domain namespace. So we can see here with this example the domain names and labels. Okay, you can see in this case, so this is the root, and you can see from the root I can have something like edu, and after edu there is a label called fhda, and after fhda there is atc and something like challenger. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to request, so whenever a user types in URL challenger.atc.fhda.edu for a particular page, okay, so how it is directed in the inverted tree structure, which is shown here. You can see here root. So after root you can see edu is a educational domain name, and fhda is a subdomain name, and atc is another domain, and finally you can see under the domain challenger. Okay, so I want to access challenger.act.fhda.edu. So how it is traversing is in a inverted tree structure. So first your request will go to root, and then it will go to edu, and then it will go to fhda, finally atc, and finally challenger. Okay, so this is how the inverted tree is going to work. So now in this there are two categories of domain names. One is called fully qualified domain name, and another one is called partially qualified domain name. And you can see in the right hand side that FQDN is called fully qualified domain name. So www.funny.int, and you can see challenger.atc.fhda.edu, right? And cs.hmme.com. And here in this right hand side you can see challenger.atc.fhda.edu, right? After that there is no further domain is mentioned, right? There is no further dot, and cs.hmme, after that nothing is there. www, so if you type www, definitely you are not going to get anything in your browser, right? So this is called partially qualified domain name. Okay, so a complete domain name, for example www.google.com is a proper domain name. Okay, www.google, that is not a proper domain name, right? So this is called fully qualified domain name and partially qualified domain name. Okay, and now we'll see some of the domains. You can see this is how the domains are mapped. So after root, so there are two domains, two categories of domains. You can see commercial domain and educational domain. So under commercial domain you can have subdomains. Okay, under educational domains again you can have some more subdomains. Okay, so this is what is called domains and labels. Now we'll see distribution of the namespace. So how this namespace is distributed. Okay, so the information contained in the domain namespace must be stored. However, it is very inefficient and also unreliable to have just one computer to store such a huge amount of information. So what we are going to discuss here is we are going to discuss about hierarchy of name servers, and what is a zone, and what is a root server, and what is primary and secondary server. So these things are involved with DNS infrastructure. So I should say this is the very important topic of DNS. So hierarchy of name servers. So how it is done, then what is the zone, okay, and what is root, and what is primary and secondary server. This is what we are going to discuss. Now here you can see this is the hierarchy of name servers. Okay, in this diagram what we are going to see here is, so this is how DNS server is actually distributed. So any request made from the user which is it is not serviceable, or the request is not present in the browser cache, then definitely that fresh DNS request will go to the root server. From the root server it will go to the main domain servers. Okay, I should say root server. After root server I can say like primary servers. Okay, for example alpha, right, it's a primary organization, and edu is a educational domain, and com is a commercial server, and us is a country domain server for United States. Okay, so like that this is called primary servers. Okay, from there you can see under education server you can have fhda.edu, bk.edu, you can something like annauniversity.edu, right? So after edu I have annauniv.edu, okay, and after edu you can append like iit.edu, something like that. So this is coming under all the educational universities or institutions are coming under edu domain, okay. And under your com server, for example, mcgrahill.com, right, irwin.com, flipkart.com, amazon.com, right, yahoo.com, gmail.com, all are coming under commercial servers, and country domain servers as specifically it goes, right? So we have three levels of hierarchy. One is root, second one is primary, and the third one is called secondary servers, okay, right? For example, I am getting a domain name under com server. For example, I want to create my own domain, okay, so let it be like dna.com, okay. So how the hierarchy flow? First my request will be going to root server, from there it will going to the commercial server, from there it will reach to my dna.com server, okay, right? So this is called hierarchical space. Next we'll see what is zones, okay. So under root, okay, a particular broad primary server serviceable area is called as a zone. So now you can see in this example, I am having a com server. So after root, I am having a commercial domain, okay. So all the commercial domains are coming under one particular, like category. So com is called zone, okay. So all the commercial, like domain servers are coming under zone, okay. And you can see MHEE, right, it's a zone. So under the zone, you can even have another zone and domain, okay. This is how zones and domains are going to work, okay. So now we'll have a note here, okay. A primary server loads all the information from the disk file, and the secondary server loads all the information from the primary server, okay. So I also told you, right? So primary server holds everything, but the secondary server is dependent on primary server, okay. So when the secondary server actually downloads the information from primary, it is called a zone transfer. So I told you primary server is going to service, or it is responsible for a zone. For example, again com, okay, I am creating my own like domain under a commercial website com. So if I want to do the resolution, the data is supplied to me from the com server, okay, that is called zone server, okay. So this particular event is called zone transfer. Next, DNS in the internet. So DNS is the protocol that can be used in different platforms. So in internet, domain name space is divided into three different sections. One is called generic domains, country domains, and inverse domain. So this is the three broad categories of domains. One is generic, okay. So for example, your commercial sites and ARPA, right, for organizations, academic institutions, right, everything comes under e-commerce, public transfer, transfers, government, everything is coming under generic domains. Country domains, UK, .US, okay, .GER, okay. So these are coming under country domain. And then we'll see this DNS in internet. So the three domains are explained here. So root domains, generic domains, country domains, and inverse domains. So this is the example that will best explain you all these things. So AERO is a aerospace, BIS is a business domain, com is a commercial domain, okay. So these are some of the generic domains, okay. So COOP, that is corporations, education domains, government domains, information, INT, MIL, military domains, museum do have a domain name, and net, org, pro, right. So these are the basic domains. For example, how domain name resolution will go, right, if I have a URL. So for example, I have a URL shal@atc.fhda.edu, okay. So now how it will go? It will go to the root, and then from root it will reach to edu. From edu it will reach to the FHDA. This is the secondary domain. From there again it will go to a place called ATC, and then it will go to CHAL. Okay, so this is called index to the address. Okay, so this is generic domains. So again, these are the generic domains. So COOP is the one. I feel like it is new to us, like cooperative business organizations. Apart from that, everything else you will be knowing it. You will be using it in our day-to-day life. Probably you will be new to this domain called museum. Okay, and even you can get a domain name, right? Even you can get a domain name at zone level, right? So that is coming under name. So next, country domains, example, AE, FR, France, US, ZW. Okay, so I have address like anzta.cup.ca.us. So these are something like country domains. For example, in, gov.in, in that in is a country domain. Okay. Next, inverse domains. So in inverse domains, right, what I will be getting is, so generally in a normal domain, the domain name resolution will get me the IP address. So here IP address to your namespace resolution will be done. It is like inverse operation. You can see here at the root level, you are actually having ARPA, and then after that you have in address. Then you can see there is an IP address 121.45.34.132. So the domain which is pointed towards an IP address, this is called inverse domains. A domain which is pointed based on an IP address itself is called inverse domain. So it's a reverse operation. Okay. Next, very important entity or thing we are going to do here is called DNS resolution. So how DNS is going to perform this DNS operation? So for that we have some components called, first one is called DNS resolver. Then what is the process is like mapping names to address, mapping address to name. So both is possible. You can have a name and you can get an IP address, and if you have IP address you can get a equivalent name, domain name also. This is also possible. And then we are going to see recursive resolution, and then we are going to see caching. Okay, so very important thing is like three important methodologies we can say, like one is called iterative resolution. So when it comes to DNS, there are three important things we can discuss. One is caching. So whenever there is a domain name resolution, the domain name, right, once it is resolved, it is actually kept in the cache memory. So this is called caching. And the second one is called iterative resolution. The third method is called recursive resolution. So this is what we are going to see. The first example what we are going to see here is called recursive resolution. For example, the client is going to make a DNS resolution and the DNS detail is not available in cache memory. So now how it is going to happen? So now it is going like this. So first the request is going to the first immediate server. From the immediate server it is going to education. So it is something like this. Okay, so fhda.edu is the nearby server to me. From there it is going to the root. Edu is the root. From there, edu is the zone server. From the zone it is going to the root server. Again, because edu and fhda cannot able to resolute now. Okay, so now this request is actually propagating to root server. From the root server it is going to the com server. From the com it is going to the megra.com. Okay, so now I am actually making a request to the megra.com. Okay, so this is called recursive. So one is forwarding the request to another is forwarding the request to the another person. From there it is reaching to the root. From there root is directing to the respective place. Okay, so this is called recursive resolution. You can see here. So the first request is made to FHDA, second request is made to EDU, third request is made to the root server. From the root server it is made to a commercial server, and from com DNS it is made to megra.com. Again, from the megra.com, I'm getting the IP address back. So again, from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, and finally you are getting the request back to the client. Okay, so this is called recursive resolution. And there is one more method called iterative resolution. So let us assume here the first client is making a request to the fhda.edu server. Okay, it actually wants to reach to megra.com, but the nearby server is nothing but fhda.edu. So client is making a request, but FHDA doesn't have it. Okay, so it doesn't have, but FHDA may know who can have it. Okay, so what it is giving? It is giving the way to reach to EDU. So now client is making another request to EDU server. So EDU server, actually EDU server doesn't have the actual resolution, but it may know, right, where to forward your request next. So now it is forwarding the that particular link to client. Now the client is making a request to the root server. Okay, so it is not available with EDU, but EDU gives you, or EDU asks you to reach to root server. So now I am reaching the root server separately, and the root server doesn't have the data, but it know where to reach. So root server is giving the link to reach to com server. Now client is making a request. So you can see the seventh one. Seventh one is the request to com, okay, commercial server. Now the commercial server will give the link to reach to the megra.com. So finally, right, the client can reach to megra.com, and finally client can get back a IP address of megra.com. So this is called iterative resolution. So it need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 iterations to reach. Okay, See, in the earlier case, you can see all the servers are directly connected. When the client is actually making only one request, but you can see here the client in the second case, it is making multiple requests, okay, iterative request. Okay, so this is called iterative resolution. But in the first method called recursive resolution, the recipient who receives the request from the client, he takes the responsibility of forwarding the request to the next level. But in the second method, iterative resolution, client is responsible for everything. Only the reaching person will give you the link or give you the address to reach to the next person, but it is the responsibility of the client to reach to the exact location. Okay, so this is called iterative resolution. Okay, so that's it, friends. Okay, so this is all about DNS. So I think we have discussed about what is DNS and what is namespace, what are the types of namespace, what is domain, what is zone, and what is resolution. And we have discussed about different types of domains, and also we actually discussed about what are the methods in which this DNS resolution is achieved. And finally, again, I'm going to talk about caching. So what is caching? So caching is nothing but, so now you see whether I used iterative or whether I used recursive method, but I got the DNS resolution, okay, I got the result. So this result is saved in the cache memory, okay. So when the second time the client is making the request for the same domain, right, so the client doesn't have to forward or doesn't have to follow this lengthy process of DNS resolution. Instead, it will get the address directly from the cache memory. So this is called caching. Okay, this process is called caching. So that's it, friends. This is all about DNS. Thank you.